Hi, my name's Robyn Fritz, and it's time for Coffee and Cosmos with Robyn. So, welcome this morning from Seattle, Washington. Today, I want to talk a little bit about intuition and spirituality. And I also want to take questions from the audience for quick intuitive readings and to tap into a few questions people asked last time that I couldn't get to. So, welcome again to Coffee and Cosmos with Robyn. My name is Robyn Fritz. I'm an intuitive and spiritual consultant, a certified past life regression specialist. I'm based in Seattle, Washington, and it's the last week of October, and it's gorgeous here, and the leaves are turning and reminding us that seasons change. So today I usually do a quick guided grounding and balancing exercise with Crystal Fallon, but he's in the other room doing something else. He said to say hello and will be back with us next week. So, it just goes to show that sometimes our partners have other things going on. He works with other beings, and we have been working a lot with various properties in the Seattle area. So hello from Fallon. And we can do a quick grounding exercise by just breathing in to the count of 4 and exhaling to the count of 8. Breathe in, count of 4, and exhale to the count of 8. And it's a very simple way of stopping during the day and getting yourself all back together, especially if something has been really busy or upset you, or even if you just need to take a quick break. It's really good to help you get grounded back into your body. And that also means not just grounding to the earth, but to all the elements, earth, air, fire, and water. So when you're getting grounded, just remind yourself to connect to all the elements. So today I'm happy to take questions for readings from people, and I want to tap into a few readings from last week. It's fun to share, and I'd also love it, again, because it is fun to share, if you chime in and say hello and let us know where you're chiming in from, which is great. This is a wonderful community that Om Times has created for us to share it. So I want to quickly talk about intuition and spirituality. So I've had some people say to me lately, either to my face or via email, that intuition is dangerous and it's not religious, it's not spiritual, and therefore there's something wrong with it and you should avoid it. And I'm like, what? And no, I don't laugh at people, but I'm laughing now and thinking, okay, where do you get those ideas? So here's what I know. Our intuition is real. It's part of all of us. Every single person is intuitive. Every single person is a healer. And that means you, right? And it means that intuition and healing are innate to us, just like our physical senses of seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and smelling. Granted, some of us may have more developed senses of intuition than others because they worked at it, but it doesn't mean that that all of you are not innately intuitive. This is a natural thing that you're born with. And somehow over the last couple hundred years, we have been told that it isn't real or it isn't scientific, and now that it isn't religious. And we won't go into the whole history of burnings and, trying to get people to think in a certain way. But what I do know is that there are a lot of misconceptions out there. And because I know that intuition is in all of us, what I'll say is that don't be discouraged from working on your intuition because other people don't understand what it is. It's your real sense. It helps empower you to be the best that you can be in the world. And know, too, that we're all here growing our souls in this experience in human bodies. And our intuition is part of that, of how you can grow your soul and also how you can keep yourself safe in the world. One of my favorite jokes is that there once were two branches of the human race. One was intuitive and the other got eaten. And the truth of it is that intuition is part of how we keep ourselves safe. And we tend to block it. So even though we're using it all day, because we're actually not focused in on it, we discount it. And we think that it doesn't apply to us, or we think that it's a gift. Now, of course, being able to use your intuition means that you can connect with your deceased loved ones, humans or animals. And I teach all my clients how to do that in a mediumship session. And it also means that you can connect with your spiritual team or your spirit guides, which I've talked about in the last few Facebook Lives here at Humanity Healing. And with deities and other beings that we don't always think about, but are there anyway. And for some reason, people think that that means that intuition is spirituality, when in fact, those two things are separate. So the people who tell you that intuition is evil, or it's not, something that somebody who's religious would be involved with, is really just showing their ignorance. And don't allow that to sway you from literally practicing how your intuition works and learning what that means for you. Some people will be able to see, hear, or feel or know things more strongly than other people. That may be your strength, to feel the feelings of other people, where somebody else's strength will be to actually have conversations with beings they can't see, or with animals, or even with other humans. So what I wanted to emphasize here in the idea of intuition and spirituality is again, our intuition is not spiritual, but it is part of our complete being, mind, body, and soul. And so learn to cherish it and cherish yourself as you learn to develop your own intuitive abilities, however they work, because it works differently for everyone. And don't be swayed by people who really don't understand intuition and think that it's not a good thing, because it helps you be a stronger person. It helps you be more well-rounded. And as you are more well-rounded, you become aware of all of the beings out there in the world who are just like you, working to grow their souls, working to be the best that they can be, and really making a contribution to the world around them. So if you're feeling all alone when you're trying to work on your intuition, or you're feeling that maybe people aren't approving of you, come here. Come here to Humanity Healing, or come to any of the Om Times pages. Go to my page, The Practical Intuitive, and look around to enjoy the community that is relaxed around intuition as a natural skill set that we all have, that allows us to be more complete humans, to be mind, body, and spirit whole beings. Okay, so let me see if anybody has any questions. Linda from Illinois. Linda, it's always best to ask a question. What are you looking for? What is on your mind today? And and I love it that you're joining in. And you should know that you have everything you need right now. You're looking to make a big decision, and you've got all the information. Learn to trust yourself. Tijuana, awesome, cool. Thank you all for chiming in. Places I haven't been, like Akron, Ohio. And I'm so glad you're all chiming in. So Kathleen says, will I ever have a forever love? And your grandfather quit talking to your side of the family in April. And oh, your granddaughter quit talking and won't respond to anything. You know, Kathleen, I'm sorry. You're lucky to have a granddaughter. I always wanted to be a grandma, but I see I forgot to have kids. And I'm not making light of your situation. Your granddaughter is in a place that you can't reach right now. So a lot of people believe in prayer. If you believe in prayer, then do that. Pray for her. But you know, sit there in the completeness of who you are, mind, body, and soul. You're a loving person. You love your granddaughter, and literally, you know, cross your hands on your heart and just hold your hands out, and just ask energy to go be with her, and ask her spiritual team to support her. And that's all you can do right now. And I know it hurts, and in reaching out to people, you know, sometimes we have to make a decision of how long we're going to do that. But, you know, drop her a note, send her some flowers, tell her you're thinking about her, and you're ready to talk when she's ready to talk. And it's hard sometimes to just be there, and when people have misconceptions, and I've seen it a lot even in my own life. And all you can do is keep moving forward and keeping that your own soul, your own heart open for love is the best way of doing that. And I used to think that love was like pink fuzzy hearts, and it was like very annoying to me. And I had a little dog who just adored me, and there wasn't anything I could do that upset that little dog. And he taught me more about love than all of my good and bad times together. And it reminded me that love is a very simple thing. You love regardless. And your granddaughter will feel that, because sending love out is a powerful thing. If we sent love out into the world, so many things would just crumble away because of the power of love. People call it unconditional love, but it means love without boundaries, love that doesn't care about things that don't look quite right or don't feel right, or that aren't perfect. Just send your granddaughter love, and send it to yourself too, because everything starts from us inside. If you don't love yourself, you can't give anything out to the world. So love yourself first, and then let that flow out from you, Kathleen, and let us know what comes next. And a forever love, that's a good question, Kathleen, because you kind of need to narrow that down, because if I ask that question, I would say I've had it many times over, and they're all in animal bodies. So you have to be a little more specific about that, because if you're looking around, you do have a forever love, and it's you. And I don't mean that to sound trite, but it's really true. And, you know, I became a medium because my dad came and asked me to be one. And I'm like, what? You know, why would I want to talk to dead people in the way that I was seeing other people do it, like giving name, rank, and serial number? Instead, I discovered that I could facilitate a conversation between the living and the dead, because my dad would bring the dead to talk with us. And you know what the dead say? That the biggest thing they had to learn was how to love themselves. And that's the biggest thing we all have to learn, alive or dead. And it was certainly my biggest lesson. So your forever love is always yourself first. And when you know that, when you can say, oh, darn, I screwed up today, but I'm okay. I still love myself. That's when you can reach out and grow and really, really see how amazing the world is around you. So Kathleen, I hope that helps you, and I hope that helps everybody who's thinking about that and asking the question, including me, myself. Ohio, wow. Kathleen you're from Seattle. Good for you. You know, I'm going to go out with my dog today and get a last quick glimpse of the colored leaves, because I guess it's going to be stormy here tomorrow. Ruth, your intuition told me exactly what happened in our family. I trust him. Good job, Ruth. Thanks for sharing that. And Marie, thank you for saying you experienced what I'm talking about. And we all do. It's a question of believing in ourselves, believing in what we get around us. Think of your intuition, your intuitive and spiritual abilities, but think of your intuition as something that's always active. So let me tell you a quick story about that. So I'm with a group of people and we're just practicing playing with our intuition. And I was cranky and tired, and they kept switching up who was talking to people. And then we had like a couple minutes to just, write things down. And during the time that I was writing things down for somebody else, I forgot the person that I was supposed to be tuning into. I was like feeling really bad because, everybody wants to hear what other people get for them, right? And I was cranky. I hadn't slept very well in 2 days. And I just wasn't into it. And I wasn't paying attention. And I forgot who I was talking to, whose intuition, or who I was tuning into intuitively. So here's the thing. So when it was my turn to tell this person what I thought, there were a few things that I got right. But later, someone sent me a note and said, Robyn, everything you said applied to me, every single thing. And I had to laugh because I teach this, and yet I forget that all of the intuition, all of the information for our intuition is out there. And we pull down what is there for us. And if we're not paying attention, we can pull down something else instead of what's for us. So that was a reminder to me that, yes, we're always getting information, but tune in to the person you're getting information from. So when you're tuning in to your intuition and asking your intuition, what is spiritual? Are the people who saying that intuition isn't spiritual or religious and that it's not holy, does that resonate with you? Because it's not true. So what do you know, and what does your intuition tell you? And go from there, because we're all here doing one thing only, and that is growing our souls. And everything comes from that. We can mess up, which we do all the time, and we can learn from that, and we can continue to grow. I promise we can. So Jan, with a beautiful name I can't pronounce. I met someone online that I've had prior lives with. Needless to say, I fell in love with him. I'm sorry. I'm trying to scroll through the other things here. My question is, are we going to make this new relationship everlasting in this lifetime? I don't know, Jan. Are you? That's a question for you to deal with. But one thing I want you to look back in on that is, you met someone online you've had prior lives with. Okay. Having a previous life with someone does not mean that it's great. It does not mean that it's going to boost you in growing your soul, or that it's a holy or good relationship. And it doesn't mean it's a bad one either. It just means you had a previous life with them. So don't let the previous life distract you from what is going on in this lifetime currently. I have people say that all the time. Either they had previous lives or they felt a connection. I remember someone who felt a connection to a horse, so she adopted it, and it was not working out. And when I talked with the horse is like, I don't want to be here. I don't want anybody to ride me. My back hurts really bad. Every time she gets on me, I want to buck her off. And it's like, you may have felt a connection to that person, but that doesn't mean that it's good for you right here and now, or for that person. So learn to fall in love with the person as they are right now, and where their soul is now, and how their personality is developing, and what interests you have in common, and all of those things, because the previous lives are previous lives, and they don't always have a direct bearing on our current lifetime. And I know that as a past life regression specialist. We're moving from one experience to the next. So have fun with your relationship, and go in the now and see what works for you, and what works for that person, because that's what matters right now. Well, good. Oh, thank you for being so nice. People feel drained. Ruth says you let go. I think you're talking about the granddaughter. I'm getting too many people here to respond to everybody today. And we're getting close to being out of time. So someone said they feel drained. Okay, so I am so glad you said that, because I tuned in on the spur of the moment to a broadcast from Anthony Williams, I believe his name is, the medical medium. And I remember looking at his books before. And I listened to a few minutes of his books, and I was like, or you have the broadcast, and I remember looking at his books before and knowing this is the real deal. This is a genuine person. He's making a huge contribution to the world, and he's right on. He's working with a spirit person, spirit guide. I'm not quite sure who that person is, but they're working together. And I do know, as a matter of fact, that there are spirit guides out there who are medical people. I have called them in to work with animals and people, in addition to my own spiritual team. So I'm telling you, this Anthony Williams guy is great and true and real. And I just went out and bought 3 of his books and putting some of his stuff into practice. So I'm saying, if you're saying you're feeling drained, I think that's really, I'm sorry that you are, but I think it's really cool, because I really wanted to mention Anthony Williams today, and I didn't work it into my conversation about intuition and spirituality. And here, Fernanda, you say you're feeling drained, so check him out, the medical medium. It's a whole lifestyle change, but the guy has some really good things to say, and I know exactly how you're feeling, needing good rest, good nourishment, and fun, but there are lots of things about our current health in our current civilization that this man has tapped into to help, and all he wants to do is help. So everybody check him out. So will things change with your father? Not anytime soon. And that's the last thing I want to tap into. From today's questions, because I wanted to go back to a question from last week, in particular, because it's the end of October, and there's a lot of thinking this time of year around death and dying and our deceased ancestors. So will things change with your father? We can't control, of course, we can't control how other people live and die. And we can't control what they're thinking or feeling. And all we can do is let go of our expectations for them. There are people in my life that, just don't want to grow. And there's nothing I can do about it. I just need to keep on an even keel with myself and my family. And we all need to do that. We all need to take care of ourselves first and grow out from there. And I know the hurt from loved ones can be overwhelming at times. So I'm urging you to just say, hey, I love my father, or I love the person who is causing issues for me, and I wish them the best. But cut their energy off from yours. Just ask your spiritual team to remove that connection so that you aren't continuing to be hurt by them, and that you can continue to grow on your own path. Life is really tough as a human. I mean, we really picked tough ones when we chose human bodies. And I look at my animal family and I think of the amazing things they're up to, and they chose animal bodies, and they were smart because they are more tuned in than we are. And I'm not saying that they're better than we are. I'm just saying they're more tuned in to spiritual and intuitive and jobs that we signed up to do in this lifetime, because being human is tough. We have to dig through prejudice, just like I started at the beginning of the show, that intuition is somehow evil or not spiritual. And it isn't spiritual. It's a practical tool. It does help you connect with spiritual beings, but that doesn't mean it's spiritual. It's a practical sense. But it isn't evil, and it isn't contrary to religion. So this week is Halloween. So that is, the night before what Christianity calls All Saints Day, which is November 1st, and All Souls Day, which is November 2nd. So this is the time of year where everybody thinks about their deceased loved ones and their deceased ancestors. And they wonder about them a little bit or a lot, depending on how the relationship went, if they knew these people. And I know for me in particular, I was talking with someone the other day and she mentioned Halloween and I went like that. And she was like, what? And I said, yeah, I was a child when my 14-year-old brother died on November 1st. And I knew something was wrong on Halloween. And so ever since then, Halloween has been a kind of thing for me. But, a trigger because we all have them. So here's the thing. This is a time of year, they talk about the veil being thinner. It's like all kinds of weird stuff. You can connect with your deceased loved ones anytime. And I teach my mediumship clients how to do that in every session I have with them, because my goal as an intuitive, whether it's working with a business, clearing a house, talking with the dead, talking with animals, helping you clear yourself through soul clearing or looking at past lives to tap skills or to relieve trauma, all of it is about empowering each of us to be the best that we can be, right? And to grow in love. And that's a really, really tough thing. So here's the thing. I want you all to know from my years of being a medium, as well as learning as a 9-year-old child, that death was very real and had just happened in my house. When you're 9 years old and your 14-year-old brother dies, everything changes for you, from religion to how you view the world. And every single one of you that has issues right now, issues with loved ones or has lost loved ones or is wondering, am I going to find the person who loves me? Here's the thing. You are your most important person. You are the most important thing in your life because you're growing your soul. And everything you do to grow your soul helps you spread your incredible light around the world. Every single one of you is valuable. Every single one of you is needed in the world. And every single one of you is not alone. We're all in it together. So you may feel lonely, you may feel disconnected, but you can come here to this community. You can go to your spiritual team and ask them for support. But someone last week said, is my grandmother proud of me? And I'm assuming she meant her grandmother who was deceased. And you know what? Your ancestors, whether they're your parents who have died or your family members or your grandparents or whoever, of course they're proud of you because they know you chose a human body and you're growing your soul in that body. And I keep saying that over and over again because it's true, right? So let yourself learn to love yourself. And like, okay, I goofed up, I make mistakes, and that's fine. You learn from your mistakes or you don't, but you keep moving forward. And that's the important thing. So is your grandmother or your grandparents proud of you? Yes. And they're still working out their stuff in the afterlife. And that's fine too. So give them and yourself a break. And as Halloween comes up and the Day of the Saints and then the Day of the Dead, All Souls Day in Christian tradition, remember your deceased loved ones. Know that someday you'll be one. And reach out and say, hey, you guys, you're pretty cool. I love you. I love myself. Let's just keep moving forward because that's what life is all about. And to help you with that, today's crystal of the week is fluorite. Fluorite comes in colors like white and green and blue and brown and yellow. And fluorite helps teach us discernment. And discernment is what we all need all the time. So whether we're having issues with family members or ourselves or looking for answers, fluorite is a crystal that can really help you with discernment, and it can help you filter through the ups and downs of life. It'll help you boost your intuition. It'll help you determine what's spiritual, what's intuitive, what rules religion and culture put on you and whether they work for you or not. And discernment is really an important skill for us all to have. So fluorite will help you with that. You can get little pieces of it and carry them around in your pocket. For everyone who carries a crystal in your pocket, make sure your pocket zips or you have your crystals in a container or some. I wear like sometimes in a little pouch around my neck because they tend to jump out of pockets and go on little tours. So it's a good way to lose a crystal. So anyway, I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you have questions you want me to cover in future broadcasts, please do so. So again, if you like this broadcast, if you like what we're offering you, please like this page, the Home Times pages, and my page, The Practical Intuitive, Robyn and Fritz. I've got some things coming up here for you in the future, but for right now, like those pages if you can. I have a grounding and balancing video meditation with the Crystal Fallon, who again is in the other room actually working off planet right now. I know it sounds weird, but hey, you know what? He's who he is. So you can see him in that meditation. It's free, or you go to my website, robynfritz.com, ROBYNFRITZ.com, and sign up for my newsletter, which I haven't put out all year, but I will soon. But the meditation is free and you'll love it. It's beautiful and it's really grounding and balancing. And what else? And if you'd like to work with me, you can find me at my website. Again, robynfritz.com, personal and business intuition, mediumship, animal communication, space clearing, past life and between life regression, a process I call soul progression clearing, and energy healing, all to help you be your best self. And twice a month on the first and third Mondays, I do a radio show with omtimes.com radio, the practical intuitive mind, body, spirit for the real world. So last week I probably scared everybody with talking about what's really going on the planet, but there are over 2 years worth of shows there in the archives. Check them out. Let me know how I can help you, and help yourself by trusting in your intuition, trusting that it is a practical thing, that it's useful, and those who don't believe in it, are missing out. So again, thank you for joining us today. Cross your hands on your heart and just breathe in, and as we did that quick breathe in 4 to the count of 4 and exhale to the count of 8. As you're doing that, just imagine healthy energy flowing into you, supporting you, nourishing you. It's real. Energy is sentient. You can talk to it, invite it to help you, and invite it to help your loved ones. See you next week. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us today. Take care.